Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 70, finally, of the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. My name is Geoff, and we are under the curse of Craig. Thank you for sticking with us, if you had, and I say that to our audio and YouTube watchers and listeners because we are 45 minutes our normal live time, a little weather/technical difficulties, so thank you for bearing with us, and if you're watching this afterwards, we're going to put it right up after we're done recording. Or as soon as it'll let us to make up for it. So thank you for tuning in. Let's get back to the normal spiel. Episode 70, as always, with me is the, well, now just one. It's the Tomko to my AJ. Let's go old school. It's Max, everybody.
Can't I be AJ and you be Tomko?
Yeah, sure.
Right,
I'm feeling happy. You helped.
Right.
Through,
and really, I was gonna see. Had we not had the technical issues, I was gonna make this episode 1776 because much like the U.S., we have cut ties with our British counterparts and are on our own.
That's funny. Well, great segue. So as you see, it's just the two of us. We're back to the old school OG way of doing this. We will have guests from time to time, including Craig making an appearance. And then we obviously get together for our pay-per-view specials. But please check him out. The ratings are good so far, the numbers. It was a great episode, especially for just trying it out. Episode 1 of Talking Bloody Nonsense you can find right here on our YouTube or audio, wherever you're listening or watch now. You listen and watch then. It is Craig alongside TNAIW newcomer, but British veteran wrestler, Nixon. Shout out to both of them who did an awesome job. We're working on the set a little bit. It's looking good. And pretty much same show as this. They have a couple headlines, a major headline, and then the last 10 minutes, though, about British wrestling, which you can't get here, unfortunately.
We don't watch much British wrestling. The British Invasion, maybe, but...
Who just reunited, but... yeah, so as you guys can see, a little bit of a new look. Very slight different premise, not much. But thanks for tuning in. Before I talk our ear off about that. Oh, speaking, I was just mentioning weather, so I want to say that. We want to send all our love to everyone in Kentucky. And if you planned on going to IPWF, which would be this Saturday, I think it's still going on. I was trying to get word right before, but I know it's Western Kentucky that got hit. But more importantly, hearts go out to all that from Kentucky or a family there. So let's get into power rankings. Go power rankings. We'll see if anyone comes in the chat group. It's 45 minutes late, so I'm going to say no.
We got 3 people.
Okay. Hey, there you go.
Hey. There's one person.
Speaking of the devil, there she goes. Let's go right to her with this week's power rankings.
Hi there, this is Tatya with Rangers of Wrestling, and here's your TNAIW Top 10 for this week. Number 10, Knockout World Champion Mickie James. Number 9, The Soldiers Willie Mack and Rich Swann. Number 8, Knockouts Tag Team Champions The Inspiration. Number 7, X Division Champion Trey Miguel. Number 6, Rachel Ellering. Number 5, Thirst Trap Chris Sabin. Number 4, Eddie Edwards. Number 3, the debuting Jonah. Number 2, number 1 contenders W. Morrissey and Matt Cardona. Number 1, Impact World Champion Moose. That was your top 10 Impact wrestlers of the week. Do you agree? Let us know at TNAIW channel. Back to you guys.
Well, speaking of technical difficulties, that was last week.
I was wondering. I was like, man, that's...
Oh, man.
I was like, I'm pretty sure some of these mofos weren't even on the episode this week.
Bro, what is going on with this shit? Craig's gone 1 week and we're off the rails.
Clearly, we can tell who the technical advisor for our podcast was. It was clearly
no, we'll get it together. That I clicked. Maybe I clicked the wrong one. I don't know. But we'll get to fix that. I'll run it down. I'll read it as I read the Access TV results. Impact on Access TV results. But the power rankings for this, and we'll release it on our YouTube as we do now. Please go click and check that out on our YouTube channel. Dati is there. She does a hard work every week to do it. It's awesome. It is now on our YouTube on its own playlist. So go check that out. But in this week's The Right One will be up there as well. So at number 10, we had the Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander. At number 9, I Am Chris Sabin. Number 8, the Knockouts World Champion, Mickie James, followed by the Drama King, Matt Raywalt. VBD's own EY coming in next. And then right after him at number 5 was the newly signed Lady Frost. Then the former Knockouts champion, Deonna Purrazzo at number 4. Our world champion, Moose at 3. Followed by Cardona at 2 and Morrissey at 1. Once again, the real rankings, as I just spoke, will be up on our YouTube channel as well as our Twitter within the next day. I apologize for everything, but she does a great job. And if you don't agree with them, though, do not blame her. There is a committee that votes. If you want to be part of it, it's at TNAIW channel. Write us on Twitter. It's free to enter. Fun. It's a nice little group that puts it together. So thank you guys for that. Max, number 3 for Moose. I know you're gonna.
I'm actually okay with that based off the way the episode ended. I'm fine with that.
Fair enough. That's where I was too. I was like, okay, is he gonna be pissed or not? And then I saw.
I'd have been real upset if Hook made his way in there because I saw some people asking if they could vote for him. I was like, what's this motherfucker even on the show?
Oh man, his dad.
Kenny couldn't make it on when he was part of Impact, and Hook's over here getting votes.
No man, I digress. So yeah, we'll get right into the Impact on Access TV. As we already said, Max and Geoff are here for this show. Craig and Nixon have their own show every Thursday on Eastern Time of 4 p.m. British Time of 9. All right. So on BTI, we had, and we don't usually cover this, but I'm going to mention it. Lady Frost had her debut match as a signed competitor versus Kimber Lee in a winning effort. On Access TV's special there, we had, I'm not used to doing this, Sabin and Mickie, the old school nostalgic TNAers, tag teaming against Deonna and the Drama King. Deonna and Drama King taking the win there. Cardona was getting interviewed by Gia Miller backstage, doing his I'm always ready stuff. And William W. Morrissey came in to speak his piece. They set up the match for later that night. If Morrissey wins, Cardona is out of the 3-way at Hard to Kill. Followed by VBD promo on Rhino. Doring said he has a plan for it, by design, of course. Rohit with Raj Singh, which is back, which is awesome. They're continuously using him, which I love to see there, because I'll get to that later. I'm so used to telling my opinion. Versus Lawrence D, who made an appearance. Odd match for Impact on Access TV, which made sense as it was shortly there interrupted by a fuming Josh Alexander, who demanded a match with Jonah to come out. Scott D'Amore came out instead, and some interesting things ensued, which we'll talk about. A lot of family talk, and they're whatever. After that, Bullet Club was backstage just dicking around, and Laredo Kid came in, and they argued.
Kind of argued. Laredo Kid said stuff, and then
and then another Scott segment backstage. Macklin demanding his shot, doesn't get it. Decay comes in, talk about Ultimate X. He mentions he has delegated his duties, especially for the knockouts, which we'll get to in a second. Finjuice for the Learning Tree. Finjuice with the win. Morrissey and Moose had a backstage segment where Moose said, "Hey, sorry about that. I forgive you. No problems here. If you need my help, let's do this. Let's get Cardona out of the match. Let's just be back to you and I." VBD is told to stay in the back as Eric Young comes out for his street fight against Rhino. Really cool camera angle there. If I don't mention it in my my review.
Oh yeah, him coming out, I really liked that. That was cool.
Yep. And then the Good Brothers came out at the end, and a bunch of other people ensued. We'll get into that. Let's see. Then we had a backstage with the Inspiration and Influence. Then they had their match versus DK, which DK was successful there. Lady Frost in the Ultimate X announcement, and the competitors, which we'll get to in a moment. And then Gail Kim revealed as the new Knockouts EVP, I guess. Then we had our main event of Cardona and Morrissey, which ended in a disqualification for Morrissey. So the match stays intact. As you can see there, Hard to Kill is January. Come on, go. Is it 8th? I was trying to time it perfectly, and then as usual, fuck up. Here it goes. January 8th.
Yes, January 8th.
Saturday in Dallas, Texas, which should be an awesome show. And we'll get into their lineup there. You could see it up there on our Tron. But Max, let's get right into the action itself. Obviously, I skipped over a few things for us to fill in the details on.
Yeah.
Overall thoughts on it and the direction it's going?
I thought it was a really good episode. I liked a couple things. I liked the Rahit and Lawrence D match. I liked that it was really just kind of used for a way of Josh Alexander coming in there and progressing his storyline. I sometimes think that's cool because at least these guys get out here. But I think that was a smart thing to do. I liked one of the things I really liked, although it was much more of a comedy match, which was Decay versus Influence and the Inspiration. I liked the match though. What I liked about it is it was 4 women versus 2 men and 2 women, and they didn't even make like it was just a match. Like, hey, it's you guys versus Decay. Go get them.
You and I, buddy. You and I.
And I thought that was really cool because had this been the WWE, like you would have even the comedy stuff that they did with Black Taurus and crazy stuff. Like Black Taurus could have ripped anybody in half, and he didn't. But that stuff was really well done. The Eric Young versus Rhino, I thought it was a good match. I still wonder why they put all of this random stuff under rings for no reason. But I just kind of felt like everybody coming in at the end was kind of like, all right, this is kind of cluttered. I really wished it just would have been Eric Young versus Rhino. Maybe you get VBD coming down with Heath, but like the Good Brothers coming in and all that. I'm like, what is going on? And then the main event I thought was really, really good. I thought it was a great way to set up, to keep Morrissey looking strong. Yeah. You get Cardona in the match, and it to me, I think we know down the line Josh Alexander is going to be Moose's biggest threat. But right now, Morrissey really looks like a threat, and they're doing a really good job of building him. And the loss that he took here doesn't hurt him at all because it really was a loss that he caused himself with a disqualification. So I thought that was really well done. But overall, I really liked the episode. I like the way things are going.
Yeah. And I don't know how we'll do this. Maybe we can interject and talk back and forth a little bit now that our it's a little bit better. I think we have a little bit lag, but overall I enjoyed the show. I thought for the lead up to the new year, and that's essentially what it is. Was there anything groundbreaking per se? No. But was it continuing the momentum? Yes. And that's all we really need coasting in, because you got to remember, we're going to have a next, there you go, perfect timing, Saturday, December 18th, which means you could catch us here on a pre-show and then a post-show on Sunday that week. The IPWF thing's coming up, so that's not continuity whatsoever. You know we're going to have our best of specials that we get every year where there's no matches and whatever. So you need a bunch of, I think, this week and next week to really drive it home for Hard to Kill before, because to my recollection, I don't think there is a show. Well, maybe, no, actually, we'll get a January show. I think we might get one show before the actual pay-per-view, because that would be... That
would be...
The 6th.
The 6th, yes. Probably, that'll be your go-home show, probably.
Yeah. So I think we'll get a show there. If it's taped, I don't know. But I did enjoy the show. There were, you, same page with a lot of those moments. Starting from the get-go, the reason I included Frost in here, obviously we'll get to it later, but she's signed. They made a point to say she was signed. I really dug that. I'm excited to where we get past the point of them mentioning she's signed. I know it's episode 1. I'm not complaining. But... I can't wait to see, and that's just me being impatient. I can't wait to see what they do with her.
Yeah.
I know she blows the little snow, but if you invest in this woman who has a multi-year contract, a gimmick already built in, a different wrestling style than anyone you have on the roster, they're already going gung-ho with her. They put her against Kimber, which I can't say enough good things about Kimber. And here she just made someone look, well, not look great. She is great, but it just, Kimber does a great job, especially with that gimmick too, of losses, wins, losses don't matter. Eventually they will for her. And I think once eventually she gets the okay to just be herself, not herself, maybe it's in this character, who knows? But just go out there and go and get a push. She'll knock it out of the park. Also love the Daphne tattoo. I saw that. That's pretty cool. So back to Frost though, I would just love to see what they do with her. I think she's very villainous. You got fire versus ice. I think with a lot of people there, with Decay and maybe I think the Undead Brides represent like fire and hell, and she's So I think there's a lot of things you could do with such a fun character. And I have this. The reason I'm going so long on BTI is because I have written down that tonight's episode made me realize that character to character, ability in the ring to ability in the ring, promo to promo, I look forward to the knockouts. Maybe not champion to champion. I do love Moose over Mickey as far as stature wise, but the knockouts kind of take the cake when it comes to stature. I don't know, man. I just feel like they keep adding these people who already have a presence, already have a star-like ability, and I think Lady Frost is on that line to continue that trend. So I like that. I liked Drama King Deanna winning there. It was cool seeing Sabin and Mickey together in a match. Let me skip around. I don't want to cover too much of anything there. The Lawrence D and Rohit thing, I agree with you there. Obviously, it wasn't meant to be a full whatever, but it got both guys out there. Does Lawrence D continue with this? I hope to God not. And that's nothing against him. I want him to, if he joined VBD, he would be over tomorrow. It's just that gimmick is very nichey, and it won't last. It puts him him against the wall, and I know he's glad to still be with Impact. I'm still glad he is with Impact. I think all the fans are. I just wish. I just wish.
I think maybe that gimmick for a little while, and then maybe him being with Brian Myers might be a good idea. Something, or him joining VBD, but something to give him that gimmick to just run like a couple weeks and then get him out of it. I think would be a good idea.
Get his face on TV.
Yeah,
that's true. Put him into the minds of the people, and then eventually go different with him. I agree with that. That's a good point. The reason I mentioned this earlier, and I couldn't help from doing it, Rohit Raju and Raj Singh, them together. I don't know if they'll use the Desi Hit Squad name, but the swag they come out with, I just really hope that they let them get a push eventually, because I'd rather see them in the tag team title tournament, tag team title, not tournament, picture scene, more so than a lot of those ones that ended the show on that fucking, not ended the show, but second to main event. Clusterfuck that was. Look, I know it's them trying to make, and I said these tapings will say, kind of steer my thoughts of the tag division. This did nothing for me. I love Willie and Rich together. I like the soldiers that they keep coming up with gear together. Good Brothers are the Good Brothers. VBD, I love the establishment, but I don't think bell to bell they need to be in. Right now, you need bangers for that tag team division.
Yeah.
You need people who go, and I love them, and I'll get to that with Eric Young and whatever, but Rhino, man, and Heath, and Doring, and Diener, it just cluster. Just Finju stick around. They got a win tonight, which was whatever. You mentioned the learning tree. It's just a really weird division right now, and they are in desperate need of bringing someone in established already. And I hope to God it's the Briscoes.
I agree. I mean, it's one of those things where they feel like they have a lot of teams, but when you really look at them, it's kind of like the teams don't do much for me.
Right.
I like Willie and Rich. I like them a lot. I think they're a good team. But Rhino and Heath, to me, as much as I liked him as a tag team, they're much more to me that tag team that just goes out there and loses to boost up somebody. If the
Right.
Briscoes come in, like there's that. VBD is kind of moved to that. I feel like unless now maybe if they add a person or two to them, maybe they can switch those tag teams around.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think they need some people. They need some tag teams in there that are a little bit better because that really is their weakest division in terms of
Oh,
teams I want to see wrestle.
yeah. And, the X division has the glaring, I don't know if the brilliance of the people in it. It doesn't matter how established they are because that's not what that title's about. It's work rate
Yeah.
and who's that. So the X division you can't even put in there if you want to make that claim. But I agree with you. The tag division just isn't exciting to me yet. There we go. But moving on with that, I did like positives. I did like that camera angle with VBD. I think I think VBD's great. But do I need to see I don't know, man. I just can't get off the tag division stuck out like a sore thumb in regards to
I just feel like the best
could they
parts of that
do?
tag division, unfortunately, are Finjuice, Good Brothers, Bullet Club, and then Rich and Willie. It's those four. The problem is two of those, well, obviously Finjuice is 100% New Japan, and half of Bullet Club is New Japan. So, like, they need some of their. I do think bringing in the Briscoes. I think looking at ROH and being like,
Yeah.
who can we grab from ROH? Can we bring in to kind of bolster? Because that would be it. If you're looking at who you want to bring in, I think we had talked about it last episode. Is kind of looking at ROH and looking at the releases from WWE and saying, not who do we want,
Right.
what do we need?
Right.
And I feel like if they're looking at ROH, if they're going to start picking ROH apart or kind of picking over ROH, it's grabbing tag teams and then kind of going from there.
Yeah, no, I mean,
So
plugging in those holes, it should be just like a sports team, like a roster, a depth chart. And yeah, it sucks because I like the people involved. I just think the division needs a different vibe. Uh, you can't have a bunch of hosses wrestling the Good Brothers if that's your champions all the time. You need some guys who can fly. You need some guys who can
yeah.
brawl. You need a mix, and we don't have that right now. And
Looking at ROH, you've got. I mean, just looking at who they have in their tag division, they got OGK, which is Taven in them. I mean, they've got
before
6 different ones.
Before we get into that, we'll use that at number 5 with roster moves there. But and number 3 with ROH thing that we'll mention in just a second. Obviously, Final Battle is happening right now as we speak. So shout out to ROH. Go watch that if it might be their final show. Unfortunately, I have a lot of great memories for ROH, with ROH. Sucks. But go support them, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But yeah. So on a positive note, the knockouts are in another world. Tasha Steelz, Lady Frost, Rosemary, Chelsea, Jordan Grace, and Rachel Ellering are the 6 that are going to make history and be part of the Ultimate X at Hard to Kill. I don't know. Here, before I say my opinion, any of those would you have switched out for someone else?
I don't. I'm trying to think. Chelsea. No, I like Chelsea. Jordan. No, I like everybody that's in there. I like that they chose Rosemary. I think maybe instead of Chelsea, you could put one of the influence in. Probably, I would say maybe Madison. Okay. I think that would be me. But
no. You have to remember they might be in a program elsewhere, so we have.
Yeah, no, I know that. I'm saying from where I'm at now.
Yeah.
So now, if they get into a program, then obviously that would change things. That would probably be the only person. I like Tasha in there. I think she's perfect. Mm-hmm. I think Rosemary's the best choice from Decay. I like that Rachel and Jordan are there because it It could all, we've kind of talked about that split from them possibly. Lady Frost is in there. I think that's definitely needed. The only other one would be Mercedes Martinez, but she has a title shot already, so she wouldn't be in there.
Well, she already had it.
Oh, what I'm saying, but she just had a title shot, is what I should say.
Yeah.
So she wouldn't be in there because she literally they're not gonna give her another title shot. So, I mean, maybe someone from the Undead Brides, but I like who they have. I think they chose well.
I think so too, and that's what I wanted to say was I wanted to see your opinion before I went ahead and critiqued or didn't critique it, but I liked it. The only thing I would have said was, for if you were to do this blindly, take out all the other things. I agree with you. Madison is such a, whatever.
Yeah.
And same with Deanna. She already has a match, but you want your history books to have. But these 6 are all going to be with the company, I hope, and they have legacy that they've already built there. So, and it's a great contrast of styles without putting someone the typical Havoc or Savannah Evans, who's the big person of the match.
All these people can get up that Ultimate X.
Yeah, I love that. The one thing I did want to mention before we move on to Jeff Hardy and beyond, you mentioned, and it's funny you freaking say that. I wrote it down multiple times because it happened multiple times during the show. And you might have missed it if you weren't looking for it, because it was actually the lack of something, which was the lack of talk about mixed tag teams. There was no discussion. You had, they don't say, what is it? Not mixed, intergender. I didn't hear those words come out anywhere. They had Decay and the influence inspiration on that logo, and I said, what the fuck?
That was my thought. When I first,
like,
they were like, "Oh, it's Decay." I was like, I must have, because I was doing something. I was like, I must have missed who else is with Decay.
Right.
There must be somebody else teamed with Decay, because there's no way they're gonna have 4 women wrestle Tarot. Like, you're asking for.
Well, and that's
like Dudley's putting Mae Young through a table back in the day type stuff.
Well,
like.
See, that's not where my head goes. My head goes, it's not about can they make it believable or someone going to get fucked up. It's just, what went for me was, obviously, first we had another taste with the Sabin and Mickey James versus. So when they switched in, Matthew Raywall was going at Mickey and vice versa. There was no talk. And I was like, damn, okay, let me write this down. So I wrote down. Then we get to what we're speaking of and the Decay thing. And it was more so that not once throughout the show, it wasn't mentioned. It was just as if it was normal. And if they're treating the Impact World title and the Impact Knockouts World title as equals, I think this is an awesome step in that direction, because once again, I really feel like the Knockouts division is right now superior to the men's. Top to bottom. Not saying, hey, this person's great. Yeah, no shit. We got some really awesome dudes. But top to bottom, there's some fucking talent in that division, and all different levels, veterans, now, present, past, everything you can fucking think. So kudos to them, but I really dig that because it really just sets the tone as if we're all equals, which is what we should be, because I think the Knockouts division is what's going to carry us for a little bit, because we'll get to it at number 5, but with Gail Kim being the authority figure and kayfabe, but also backstage having some swing. She had a really interesting interview recently of who she's interested in. So I think it can only get better. But speaking of roster moves and such, unfortunately, Jeff Hardy has been cut or released by the WWE. I won't speak on what the alleged reason is. We will just say he is released. And it is reportedly offered, I'll say that he was offered a stint at the WWE rehab, and he declined. So they can't. That is the story. Specifics are hearsay. So I won't get into all that. Obviously, we wish him the best. Jeff Hardy will always be a big part of our history in TNA/Impact. And I think he's ultra cool, talented dude. People just have some issues. Trust me, I know this a lot better than a lot of people, or don't. Maybe So I think it's something that has that hits everyone on a daily basis, and I hope he gets help for it. He's got beautiful kids, wife, great family. So Max, one, obviously we're gonna end that there. Obviously, we wish him the best. But where do you hope he picks up from here? Do you see Matt Hardy obviously posted something to the extreme, happy to the extreme, or something teasing Team Extreme? Are you looking forward to that reunion, or would you like him to come to Impact?
So first off, I hope that wherever he goes, he gets help before he goes there. I don't want to see a situation where he goes someplace and they look past what's going on.
Allegedly.
Yeah, just make sure he gets help. To me, although I think it'd be cool to have him back in Impact, I feel like it's one of those situations where the amount of money he's probably going to want, I would rather spend on a tag team or some other people. And I just feel like him and Matt, especially if they're getting close to the end of their careers.
Yeah.
I would like a Hardy Boys. Now, personally, if I could pick, it would be the Broken Hardys and Brother Nero. That would be the best combo. I think that's got the most
right
energy into it. But I think him going to AEW was the right move with Matt there. AEW does a good job of some of their older wrestlers, them kind of giving them ways. I think I would like to see him back in Impact, but I think AEW is a smarter move, and I would rather take the money that they could get for him, that they would have to take to get him, and spend it on other people.
Here's our first disagreement of the new era. I say you throw the bag at Jeff Hardy.
Really?
Yeah. And here's why. Well, once again, we're saying that he's in the right state of mind.
Correct.
He's healed a little bit. Now, let's not forget there's a lot of not speculation, but comments of wrestlers that are in the WWE that say, man, Jeff Hardy, another level. He goes out there and he's just a different person. Backstage, he's limping around, kind of that Kurt Angle thing, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that I don't want to put any speculation on it. We can just say that maybe it's just body related. So let's not take that out of consideration, but I would imagine WWE did their due diligence. Who knows? But if he's in the right state of mind and healthy, let's not forget that we are in a position right now where we do tape multiple weeks at a time, where he doesn't have to travel all the time, where his creativity can be explored a little more, where there's no pressure of being whatever. He has the history here. He sells merch like a motherfucker, no matter what company's in. I'm being obviously biased because I, of course, would prefer him to come here. But is there a drive to see the Hardy Boys together again? Is that like a big, I don't know if there's a call for that. And I like to think that Jeff always has that, he just has a different energy. Now, is that saying that he wouldn't want to reunite with his brother? No, I hope they do eventually, and I would love if it was the Broken Ones. But I just think he adds so much name and star power to what we're trying to do right now that it would just be silly not to poke around, see how he's doing, make sure he's doing well, and then try. The dude moves merch. He's creative. I would love to hear Another Me or Modest or something blare through the speakers again. I just think that if we can try to make, and with all respect, a Rhino look good on a daily basis because they make him wrestle, you sure as hell can make a Jeff Hardy who's 10 times younger, 10 years younger, and right? I think I don't know how old he is actually. I don't know how Jeff is now. I feel like Jeff started when he was like 14.
Yeah, I thought he was in his mid 40s. He's 44.
Okay. All right, so they're actually not that far apart, but Jeff's style does come into play. Obviously, his wrestling over the
Matt is
years.
48. Lord Jesus, Matt is old.
Well, is 48 old? Not to our listeners out there. 40,
I mean,
our demographic.
not to Tom Brady, but to most normal people who I
Yeah.
blew my knee out at 35 and thought I died. 48, I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah. Well, either way, I'd like to see him, and I know there are people we can offer the money to more so. Um, but you don't think that would get people hyped?
I mean, I think it would, but I would just rather see other people.
That's
I
fair.
kind of feel like if this were 5 years ago, maybe, but I kind of feel like similar with Kurt Angle's last run in WWE, it kind of got to the point where you were like, ugh, this is
Yeah.
rough to watch. I'm afraid Jeff may be getting there, and I would hate to see him start a run and then before the end of his program get to that point where you're just like, man, because he did. A lot of these guys, especially guys who wrestled during the Attitude Era, they took a beating
Yeah.
because they did stuff. A lot of the ECW guys, Christian and Edge, are lucky because both of them basically were like, all right, we're out for 10 years
Hmm.
and didn't put any wear and tear. But guys that have been wrestling, like you said, we thought we saw Jeff when he was 14 years old.
Yeah.
Like, there's just a lot of wear and tear on his body, and I would prefer, you know, I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, I agree. I agree. It's all a matter of situation. It's all situational. There's obviously a lot of variables that go into him in general, let alone age and all that stuff. So, I think it's something not to throw to the wayside, but I imagine he does want to be, one last run with his brother. But hey, man, if the Broken Hardys come here, I would not be as mad. All right, let's move on though. Obviously, I mentioned already that Final Battle is taking place right now. All love to ROH. You mentioned some tag teams that you were kind of thinking about. Let's talk about that here. I know we'll be talking about roster moves and that as well, but we could at least set the table. But also mention that Jay Lethal and maybe a few other, it might be already late. If you're watching this obviously on Sunday or now or after, the answer might already be out there. So I won't get too much into that as far as who is it going to be. But we do know Lethal and AEW people are being sent there, and we know at least one of ours main eventers has as well. So either Moose, Eddie Edwards, something of that nature, which is freaking awesome. I hope it's a Wolves reunion because that would be dope.
That would be cool.
But let's say that with all the moving and shaking with ROH, let's use that. And what do you think that says about Impact Management to allow that?
I mean, I think it kind of sits with what Impact's been doing. They let their guys go to New Japan and wrestle. So I feel like it's just one of those things where Impact is a company and they're very smart about it where come here and you're not tied to being here.
Yeah.
They let them go to NWA. They let them go to New Japan. They let them do all types of stuff because it only benefits Impact as long as your champion isn't going out there jobbing out to somebody from Virginia Championship Wrestling. Like if you're sending them down there and they're doing well, they're impressing. It's only like, oh man, I saw this guy here. Why not watch more Impact?
Yeah.
So I think it's a really smart move by them to send people, and it lets them know that hey, we're the welcoming company.
Yeah.
Like we're willing to work with everybody. Come here and the door is open for other spots, so you don't have to worry about signing with AEW and now never being on TV or being on AEW Dark Destruction, whatever it's called, and that's it. Whereas with Impact, if you're not on Impact, go to New Japan, go to you can do other stuff. So
I agree with you there. I think I see Eddie. Thank you. Eddie video message was played. Oh, that's cool. Hope Moose still comes or something more than that. But I just saw Tony Khan bragging about who he's letting over there and how he helped NWA recently. So I was like, it'd be interesting if Impact Management did the same thing. But they didn't. At least they do it without needing the.
Yeah, I mean, that whole thing about him bragging about who he sent over to NWA, like he sent.
Let's not.
Okay, I would say, yeah.
We've done that rant and the negativity on him. So, but let's keep moving on. So the ROH, we'll actually wrap that one up and then move it to 5 because I think number 4 is going to be a big topic, and then we'll include the ROH tag teams into the roster move section there. New Japan done is the topic here. So I'm not saying they are with Impact. There's no rumors right now that they aren't helping us out. Obviously, Finjuice was there, Hikuleo's there, Jonah's there. So there's some ties still allowing him there. Good Brothers still work there. But I want to bring up the point is Rocky Romero is now on AEW. Rocky Romero, every interview he does, talks about the partnership between AEW and New Japan. I think the writing is on the wall that New Japan sees the benefit in putting their bigger stars in AEW. Bygones are bygones. That's what they're going to do. The days of Jay White coming, I don't think we're going to get it. Okada wishes, not going to happen. God and Impact, nope. I really think that that AEW / whatever rumor of the doors closed and our partnership's ending for now bullshit, I think it closed for now, literally. Maybe it won't open again. They finally realized that they no longer have any benefit to help us now that they have New Japan on their side.
So here's the thing. I feel like Rocky Romero is over there. A lot of his storyline has been with Best Friends and all them joining Chaos, similar to how
Right.
the Bullet Club is over here. Also, if you watched Rampage last night, Trent is now Trent Beretta, which they've got that name. I'm assuming with the ROH closing out, maybe they were able to get it.
It wasn't ROH.
It wasn't ROH. Who had the Beretta name?
It should be WWE.
Okay, either way, somebody got it because they were calling him Trent Beretta, which is obviously. So he has the connection there, Roppongi, Vice, and all that. I definitely think that I don't think we're going to get huge stars in New Japan. I definitely think Impact is going to be a place where they send some of their younger guys to get seasoning, guys that they want to get TV time.
Yep.
But I'm not sure how much of these big name guys are going to come over to AEW because I don't see where they fit into AEW. Like AEW roster right now is struggling to get everybody they have on. If they start adding in Jay White, Okada, and like all these people, they're just pushing more people down. So I don't know if I think.
But does it matter?
I mean, it might. I don't know. To me, I think that New Japan is looking more at New Japan Strong, and that's going to be their focus for their US show. If they're going to take big name people, they're going to put them there and not necessarily on Impact or AEW.
I think the AEW relationship with us soured. And I think New Japan and them are growing. No, I'm not saying that they're pulling out with us completely. I just think we are going to be the AAA. And I don't mean Mexico. I mean baseball, which is we get that talent that they need more time, they need character development, whatever. But they're not with us completely.
I do agree that our AEW relationship is gone. That's
what I was getting to was that Christopher Daniels' program. He was going to go for the world title, all that stuff. Those tapings ended. He ended. Christian left, so something's up there, and it would make sense if it was either side had a bad taste in their mouth from maybe this New Japan.
So I don't think it was a bad taste in their mouth. I think that AEW wanted the Good Brothers so that they could pack them with the elite to make Kenny look stronger. And then once it came to the point where Kenny was going to lose his title, they just kind of phased them out. And once they got Adam Cole, then they were like, okay, we don't need the Good Brothers because we can substitute them with Adam Cole. And it just kind of, because Kenny's no longer champion.
Yeah.
So it worked when The Young Bucks were champions. Kenny was a champion. The Good Brothers were champions. They all were champions. And then once they kind of started dropping those titles, the Good Brothers, like, hey, look, we're the only ones who are champions. Why are we hanging out with you losers?
Wasted opportunity.
I agree. It was definitely a wasted opportunity on both sides.
Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing, and I this is another reason I believe. Obviously, Christopher Daniels' thing just ending and never showing up was a big part of my belief there. But the New Japan thing kind of snowballed and kind of made me wince a little bit. Kira going there, it's kind of weird, right? I to answer your thing first, I don't think they care anymore about how bloated the roster is. Because at the end of the day, and we'll get to that in roster moves, we'll blend this right into roster moves. Brian Cage leaves, they don't care. LAX leaves, they don't care. They just put someone new in. Or they use Kenta, or they use Okada. So I think they'll get it. I just, I don't know, man. And the thing with the Bullet Club is we're not getting anyone. We're getting Hikuleo. That's all we've seen at these tapings.
And El Phantasmo.
He hasn't been.
I'm saying we've had him.
Yeah, sure. And Jay White for a fart, but you know what I mean? Like not that long. I don't know. I was gonna say something in regards to the strong thing, and I can't remember what the hell I was gonna say. But I do agree with you in the fact that they're gonna try to build that up. Would they still put their talent on a TV channel like TNT to get them over? Yeah, I think they would. But
and they may. I could see them using AEW to try and sell strong, similar to how when we got Jay White, it was really only to sell him versus Finlay.
Yeah.
Like, FinJuice is here. FinJuice has been doing stuff here. So if they're going to push that match, why not have Jay White come in? It really wasn't. So I think you could see stuff like that.
No, I agree with you. And that makes a lot of sense. I remember what I was going to say. The Chris Bay interview really stuck in my head too. He was mentioning that the reason AEW didn't want people like him on or any of Impact's talent for the sake of, besides the Good Brothers, as you mentioned, really, was because their talent outshines their talent. And if we're given a platform to AEW fans to see our talent and they impress their fans, you would assume they would come watch our talent. So that stuck out to me as well, because that was more recent that he said that. And if that's the case from AEW's perspective, then you would have to imagine that if we're not going to get Impact people on AEW, why the hell would AEW do anything and send people to us? So that relationship, why would it even continue?
Oh, I agree. I agree that relationship is done. It may pick back up in a couple years, or you may see like a one-off, like random. But I don't think you're going to see a talent exchange at this point. I fully believe that happened because AEW was like, hey, we want the Good Brothers for the Elite.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at it, I mean, I know, and Rich Swann versus Kenny was bad. Rich unfortunately did not show up in that. But Kenny versus Sammy and Kenny versus Moose, those were fucking matches.
Yeah.
Like if they would have been on AEW, anything, Dave Meltzer would have been talking 5-star matches.
Well, it was on AEW, kind of.
No. But I'm saying had they taken place, had this been AEW Sammy Callahan versus Kenny Omega, or AEW signed Moose versus Kenny Omega, people would have been talking about those matches like they were some of the best matches they've ever seen.
That's fair.
They were legitimately good matches, and so we got that benefit. But I think things also kind of fell apart when, and maybe it was on Impact's side, when everything happened with Hangman, and he was like, hey, I'm taking a break, and AEW had to push back when they were going to do that title change. That instead of Moose beating Kenny Omega for the champ, or Josh Alexander beating Kenny Omega for a championship, they gave us Christian. And although I liked Christian as a champion, I liked all that. I wonder if that kind of soured Impact potentially to where they were like, hey, man, we're giving Kenny these wins.
Nah.
We want our guy to beat Kenny Omega.
Christian Cage was coming no matter what.
I mean, but was he going to be champion, or was that?
That's fair. Okay.
That's my thing. Like,
that's fair.
he could have done a stint in Impact either way.
Fair.
But I think the original thought was at Bound for Glory, whoever Josh Alexander was going to beat Kenny Omega. That was their plan. And then when everything happened and they pushed back when Kenny was going to lose that AEW bout, they clearly weren't going to let Kenny Omega lose clean to Josh Alexander while he was still AEW's champion.
Yeah.
So they went ahead and did the swerve with Christian.
Yeah, no, it's fair. We could all speculate that all day. But sticking with that, if we're starting to focus simply on our talent, maybe we are rubbed the wrong way of them taking ours or something behind the scenes, or them, taking New Japan. We don't know. We don't know the speculation. But we could say that's done. And for New Japan, they're only going to send us B+. That's cool. We'll do that. We'll be that for them. It's still exciting. It's still a new face on TV all the time. But it seems like we're focusing on Impact, which I dig. And we have a really cool momentum going into Hard to Kill. There's a shit ton of people, unfortunately, still without jobs in the wrestling world. ROH, you mentioned. I said on here a couple weeks ago that I believe that it'll be Taya and John, Brian and Melissa and Scarlett and Killer that all come back. And sure enough, Scarlett did her first interview, mentioned how much she had fun in Impact. What's the odds of that? So, with that being said, Hard to Kill is already set up, and is one of the things on just showed. Jonah versus Josh. Ultimate X knockouts first time. World title triple threat. And I'm missing one. Oh, Mickie James versus Deanna. 4 already bangers set up. It doesn't need to have a surprise to be epic. But who could you see showing up there? Or who would you want to show up there?
So if we're looking at ROH people, I would love Gresham to show up. I think he would be awesome. But so I'm wondering here with ROH going under, are we going to see something to where their champions come in still as ROH champions?
That'd be cool.
And then what?
That'd be cool.
And then we're going to merge the titles. So if that's the case, I really liked Mike Bennett. I always thought he was great in Impact. I love Maria. She's phenomenal. Her and Scarlett I don't know what they can do, but they can do something. But I would love Mike Bennett and Matt Taven to come in as champions. I think that would be really cool. The Briscoes, I think they would be the biggest name. And honestly, I would really like Kenny King to come back. If he comes back with a tag team, that would be awesome. He teams with Dragon Lee and ROH, but I just liked Kenny King in general.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at tag teams, I think the Kingdom.
Well, hold on a second. Thank you for the update. Deanna just pulled up a ROH. So
okay, well there you go.
There we go.
So maybe she wrestles Roxy. I don't know. That's a stupid name. I don't like that. It's ROK-.
Yeah, I know.
But the Kingdom and the Briscoes are really the two tag teams that if I'm Impact, that I look at it in ROH.
Yeah, I would gladly, as much as I love Finn Juice, we don't know they're not going to be loyal to us, and I don't mean that as an individuals. It's just they're loyal to New Japan.
Yeah, they're New Japan people.
They're New Japan people, and we don't know how long they'll be New Japan people. There's speculation that WWE is in the mix. We'll see. So if you can't invest in them in that sense, you say thank you, stick around, whatever. But we're gonna start pushing. I think you put in the Kingdom right there. That you give their spots to in that tag title picture to them. And then I think you, I don't know, man. Where do it's not even, I'm trying to think of who do we not get rid of, but move to the side to move in these guys. But at this point, who gives a shit? Just come in.
So if you brought the Briscoes, so if you push the Kingdom, let's say you bring the Kingdom in and they instantly get themselves a title shot. So they're instantly in a program with them, with the Good Brothers. You bring in the Briscoes and you just have the Briscoes start from the bottom and just run through everybody. Boom, 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 one after another. And then by the time that program with the Kingdom is done, the Briscoes have beaten everyone and they're ready to go.
Yeah, that's a great idea, because I think that's what the Kingdom already are, not that the Briscoes aren't, but if they come in as a surprise with 3 of them, and you know what I mean? Not Deanna, oh, Jesus, she popped up. Maria coming back, and Mike come back. That's a moment for continuity's already there. So that program's already built in and can be had. And then the Briscoes, Briscoes can open challenge or just show up or video package.
Imagine VBD giving their promo talking about how, they're violent by design and he's going through all this, and then the Briscoes music hits and they come out. Like that's a whole different level of crazy that we haven't so I just think that would be.
I agree.
And you know what? Let's get Cheeseburger in there too. I'm not a big Cheeseburger fan, but I wouldn't mind watching Moose or Morrissey just obliterate Cheeseburger on one episode of Impact.
I'm not going even to justify that by saying that this is our second argument of the show, of the new era. No, I think there's a lot of talent there that all deserve. Oh wow, Deanna challenged Roxy to a winner take all match. Winner take all.
So would
she's not even a champion. She's not a champion.
Oh, AAA champion.
Ah. Do you think Deanna wins the ROH?
I mean, it would be an interesting thing. It would be interesting to see.
That's interesting. Let's see where this goes. So great updates. Thank you to the chat group, the best chat group in the world. If she beats Mickey. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Wonder where it takes place. I'm guessing in a ROH thing. We'll get more updates. This is the ROH show. No, but yeah, no, I agree with you there. I think we need to pick up some tag teams. The other thing I wanted to mention about roster moves is those people that we speculated that were off the roster, I think are gone. I think Tommy's backstage. I think No Way Jose is moved on. He did his part. I wish he would have been repackaged and used. He's a big dude. I think he could do some work.
I feel like he's one of those people though that he's kind like in the indies, like he's hanging on to that No Way Jose gimmick is like his.
I think he would want the opportunity to change, but we'll see. But TJP had commented on one of our tweets there, and I said, "Can't wait to see you back in Impact Ring." And he gave the basic a GIF of of someone essentially saying I don't think that's going to happen. So I think TJP's gone. And what that is, I'm sure it's more of a personality / opinions stupid thing, or maybe rubs. I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but I think it's done. So there's opens a spot. One for what does Fala, what does he continue his journey doing? And then the X division. That's a big player in it. Who do you want to see step up? Laredo Kid is there. You got, I guess, Chris Bay is not in the tag division. I don't know, man.
I think he is, but I think he kind of said he's going to go through all the titles. I think with Chris Bay is it's being part of Bullet Club. He doesn't have to stick with the tag team. He can do whatever.
Sure.
And I like that. I think it's good when you have these tag teams, especially in Chris Bay's situation where you're like, hey, I'm a singles wrestler or I'm a tag team guy. I'll just do whatever. Yeah. It doesn't seem weird. So I think he's the one that should step up and kind of go to the X division. But maybe a signee replaces him. It still amazes me that Buddy.
Oh yeah.
What?
Buddy Murphy. That's what I was literally just
that Buddy Murphy isn't he has to either A, can't get a visa, or B, is just choosing not to sign someplace.
Yeah.
Because to me, he's too big of a star. Like, I can't imagine that one of New Japan, AEW, or Impact hasn't been like, yo, dude, here's a contract, come
Mhm.
over. Like there's something has to be going on. Maybe he just doesn't want to sign right now, or I don't know. But because that dude has star written all over him, and he would.
Yeah, it has to be something with Visa, I imagine, or I don't know. But there's a lot of well, it's already an hour in. Wow. We're getting used to it. We're getting used to it. No, sans Craig. Craig, if you're listening, we love you, missed you. And if you're listening to the show, uh, Murphy signed months ago with us, I believe, right?
I don't know.
But it's
Meltzer
something with
said
the visa. We'll see. We'll see.
we'll see, but I mean, yeah, he's not on there.
If
Dalton Castle would be an interesting addition.
his in ring doesn't really do anything for
Yeah,
me.
but can you imagine Fallah Bob being one of the boys?
That's fun. All right. Well, with that being said, there's a lot of options. If you haven't watched Final Battle, it looks like it was a banger, so go watch it. Give us some love to ROH, and maybe we'll see some continuity pop up on Impact. Thank you guys for sticking with us, especially those in the chat and that watched us live here on Twitch 45 minutes after we were supposed to be on. And with that being said, take care and be safe to anyone in the Kentucky area. God bless. The weather is unusual here in the Northeast as well. So, oh God, man. We'll move on.
Fallah Bob, Lawrence D, the boys.
Oh my God. They're going to be the new Triple XL. That's what they're going to.
I mean, they could be.
Yeah. So, that being said, mentioning Kentucky, go show your love to them as well as to ROH. Stay tuned for December 18th when IPWF will be live to our knowledge. We'll get some more information and tell you guys as soon as we know. But as planned, it should be going on. And that should be a fun throwback live from Louisville on Fight TV. And then, so for that show, we will be here doing a pre-show, and then Sunday doing our live post review show. All right. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Thank you for bearing with us. We're going to get our bearings about us. This is episode 70. It's the newest era. And also go check out the real power rankings that will be up shortly after this airs. And then 2, go show some love to Talking Bloody Nonsense. It's a great listen. They're getting their bearings as well, but they're in a much better position than this episode was. It's the Mr. Impact Craig, as you know and love, and joined by TNAIW newcomer Nixon. All right. For me, see you guys later. Thank you, Max.
Later, guys.
All right, guys. See you next week.